It's Tuesday, March 9th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Government is expected to spend some $109 million in the upcoming national budget to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister in the Ministry of Finance, STRAUGHN, provided a sneak peek into the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the 2021-2022 fiscal year that will be laid in Parliament today. Minister STRAUGHN tells Barbados Today the sum forms part of projected current spending of $3.1 billion and overall expenditure of $3.3 billion for the next financial year, beginning April 1st.
We are currently projecting total revenue of about $2.5 billion, which is slightly above what we anticipate will come in this year. And what you would anticipate would happen, as the team has been going through, is we have a situation right now, for example, where because of the lockdown in February, you will realize that the customs was only clearing essential items during that period of time. Yeah. So there's currently some items that are still to be released. So and therefore there's going to be a little backlog in terms of what will trickle into April. So that's part of the reason. So our revenue is slightly above what we anticipate we will pull in this year, at $2.5 billion. But of course, all of this is predicated obviously on ensuring that we don't have to lock down again.
STRAUGHN says overall, government's estimates will reflect not only the unprecedented circumstances of the pandemic, but also the administration's intent to carry out its capital works program in a bid to jumpstart the economy.
We've been able to identify directly within the context of the budget for this year, just about $109 million specifically related to COVID. Right. That will be there. But of course, there are some programs within government where the goods and supplies and services would have been increased. But these are specifically to respond to COVID this year. And these are our best assumptions, obviously, given the experience that we've had now. Of course, we are hoping that and we've seen the results, but obviously, the spike that we had in January, we hope we don't have anything like that, because that requires a lot of resources.
Special Advisor to the Prime Minister on Poverty Alleviation, LAYNE, believes poverty and a degree of homelessness are responsible for families being a main spreader of COVID-19. His comments have come following a report by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George that families were responsible for several clusters of COVID-19 on the island. In an interview with Barbados Today, LAYNE explained that poverty, along with the construct of families in Barbados, were major factors.
I would say that poverty is part of it, and by extension our socialization and our new family makeup. One of the things I learned in this position, this assignment as Special Advisor on Poverty really fast, is that not only within the communities and families within my knowledge that they are not normal type that I grew up in, which was usually a mother, father, and uncle and child, but there are some families within a home. There are some family friends who live like families within a home, and even growing out because of the homelessness. So we think homelessness a lot of times we think of vagrant on the road, but if you look at true homelessness, people without home, because of a lot of the unstable families that we have in Barbados, again, because of socialization, because of selfishness, because of family relations breakdown. A number of people have to live by family, friends, folks, mates, extended family-in-law, and all of that.
Hundreds of teachers will receive priority access to COVID-19 vaccines when the next doses become available, even as the Ministry of Education works on a plan for primary and secondary education over the next few months. That's according to Education Minister SANTIA, BRADSHAW, who said stakeholders are once again overwhelmingly in favor of a return to face-to-face classes. Bradshaw, however, explained that with factors like community spread and the related multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome affecting children, discussions regarding the reopening of school are considerably more complex than they were during the first phase of the pandemic.
So I think ideally that's what everybody wants, whether it's teachers, whether it's the principals, the children, everybody would like that face-to-face. That's the ideal situation. But in everything, as you know, we've tried to do things safely. And we're dealing with a lot of, anxiety issues. Obviously, in the last lockdown, we weren't hearing much about the children contracting the MIS-C. So there are different dynamics that are playing out now. So we have a vaccine. A vaccine wasn't available in the last lockdown. So some of those new issues are pretty much what are being discussed. So as soon as we can, finalize how we approach it, we will let you know. The plan for all of the practicals for the SBAs, we're looking at how we address and approach the 11 plus, and also any teaching that will happen with any of the other students, whether special needs or any of the other students. So there are more dynamics to it than obviously some people might want to think. There are quite a few dynamics to this.
Residents continue to flout the boundaries of COVID-19 directives, even as officials mull over the possibility of easing further restrictions. Attorney General Dale Marshall said Prime Minister Mia Mottley and the Cabinet Subcommittee are examining the latest COVID-19 infection rates as they consider lifting more restrictions. But the AG said some residents have been taking chances they should not be taking at this time and dropping their guard in many respects.
We're still seeing people trying to. We've said shops can open, and we've said we're giving you. Well, let's talk about the rum shops. Really, we're giving you the opportunity to open, but you can sell and people take away. All right, but we are seeing instances where 1 minute turn into 5, turn into an hour. And we're getting those kinds of reports, and we're just asking people to be responsible, because if you have to shut down again, truth is those are going to be some of the first places that are going to get shut down. So you have to act not just in the interest of all Barbados, but in your own self-interest. So we really want people to be more responsible. We're happy that our vaccinations are rolling out, and that when we get the bulk of the Barbadian populace, I think we're hoping for all of Barbados, but the scientists say 70-75% for herd immunity. Then that will create an environment which will be more beneficial. But we have to be vigilant. Barbadians are still dropping the guard in many respects.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, law enforcement officers in the Bahamas are on high alert following the discovery of drugs in popular packaged snacks, and they are calling on residents to be vigilant when purchasing those items. More in this report from Our News.
Police on Grand Bahama making a shocking discovery of 126 assorted name brand snacks believed to contain THC and CBD marijuana extract at a residence on Fortune Bay Drive Sunday. Police say the search also resulted in the discovery of a quantity of cocaine, suspected marijuana, and $2,000 cash. Officer in charge of the Grand Bahama Drug Enforcement Unit, Superintendent Michael Thurston, says officers are now on high alert.
What is of serious concern to us regarding this discovery is the deceptive method of which the THC and CBD items were packaged and labeled. I wish to advise members of the public to be very careful and observant in purchasing snacks for yourselves and for your kids.
The assortment of snacks were packaged in 9 different popular snack brands, namely Ruffles, Cheetos, Fritos, Skittles, and Extreme Bites. Thurston sending a warning to members of the public to be cautious when purchasing snacks. Here's how you can tell the difference between the popular snacks and a fake.
You would want to look at the package very carefully, and there is some of the packages will see THC on some of the packages. On most of these packages, it has THC or CBD. And obviously, you wouldn't find that on a legitimate product.
Police say a woman and a man were taken into custody in relation to this matter.
And finally, a Supreme Court judge has cleared Brazil's former president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, of corruption, restoring his political rights ahead of next year's presidential election. More in this report from France 24.
In Brazil, all eyes are turning to the 2022 presidential elections after a Supreme Court judge cleared the corruption convictions of former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in a surprise decision. The popular left-wing politician was convicted in 2017 as part of Operation Car Wash, an investigation into a huge bribery scandal centering around the state oil company Petrobras. Lula has maintained his innocence, saying the charges were aimed at preventing him from running for re-election in 2018. He said the court ruling proves him right. Lula was freed in 2019 after spending 18 months in jail. In issuing his decision, the judge said a court in the southern city of Curitiba did not have the authority to try the cases. Instead, they must be heard by a federal court in the capital. This means Lula's right to run for office has been restored unless the convictions are reinstated. The Prosecutor General's office said it will appeal the ruling, which will also be reviewed by the full Supreme Court.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.